Alright, this is the last podcast of the year. I never named this podcast. Near the end of it, I kind of got tired of doing it. Like, I really didn't want to record this one. But I think that has something to do with me not liking deadlines. Like, I give myself deadlines and I deal with them, but it seems like any type of deadline that is long near the end of it, I'm like, man, I'm sick of this, having to do this thing all the time. And so I've done all 12 because I usually commit to like one creative thing per year. I'll like stick with it and do it. And this podcast was it. I don't know if I'll keep doing them. I might do like a couple here and there, but I won't, give like an order to it, like saying I have to do this many in this year or whatever. I might just do them sporadically. Like this year was kind of like a way to start it or get them started. I think one a month is a little bit too much. So I guess this episode I'll just like kind of recap what went down this month. My friend came and he visited LA, and while he was here, we made a whole album which I posted, which is called Ugga Bugga Ugga Bugga by the Ugga Buggies. Don't ask. But it's pretty much like us jamming. The way we did it was we set up all our gear. He brought all his gear. He brought bass guitar, looper, effects pedal, his computer. I had my table. And the way we started it was we kind of just would jam together, because at some point we figured out how to get our gear to work together. And he was in a row of my chaos pads while I had my own row of chaos pads to deal with, which was really cool. Like, I've never experienced that before. So not only was he able to loop and do what he does, I could grab what he's doing or add effects to what he's doing, which was really cool. It helped out a lot. It was awesome. Like, it was a cool experience because I was able to kind of control what he's doing, even though he's doing his own thing. And so we would record these jams, and then after a while, cut them off, put them in the computer, go through it, take like 20 minutes, clip out the worst parts, and keep the best parts only, which it might only get down to like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes or whatever. And then we take that and we start adding layers over it. So I would work on drums, or he would work on synths or bass, and we would just pass it between the computers, just layering our sounds into each other, making these songs. And we had a lot of stuff. We made a lot of music, but we decided just to keep the best parts. The only song we didn't change is Save Room. We didn't do anything to that. So that was just us jamming. There's nothing clipped out either. That's just 100% from the night we jammed it. The rest is heavily layered. And it was pretty cool because I make an album every February, and this coming February I was thinking about jamming on my loopers and then layering it on the computer later. So this was a good way for me to like experiment with it and get prepared for that February album. This month, not only did I make an album with my friend, I put out the 2 albums that I'm making forever. I've been making these things forever. The rap CD and the singing CD, which I changed the name of, kind of. I changed both of them in a way. I was going to name them something different, but then decided against it at the very last minute. The rap CD is called Kismet, and the singing CD is called Subtle Gemini, There Is No Sound. So if I were to change my artist name for the singing CD, I would have just called myself Subtle Gemini, but I don't want to because I already have a body of work. So it's kind of like I'll be putting out these things where the names might be aliases, but I'm still putting it out under CizreK. if that makes any sense. Like the rap CD, you might listen to it and think like, why does it say CIZ? Or I say I'm CIZ in that album, because I didn't want to say CizreK, or I don't really know. I just didn't want that to be like a rap name, so I went with CIZ, like saying it, spelling it. So it's kind of like I have multiple aliases that I'm throwing under the main alias. And the reason why these two CDs took so long to make is because for the rap one, it's really hard either to find a really good beat you want to rap to, or it's like the lyrics. For me, I have to write and then rap and figure it out, and then maybe take sections out and rewrite it, so it takes a long time. Like Creative Vomit, I wrote to it probably 10 times. That track took like 8 years to make. I wrote so many different lyrics to that song and would just trash them because I was like, this isn't working. And the one day it did work, I found this flow, the flow that I use, and I was like, I gotta finish this right now, or I'll never be able to do it because it took so long. So for rap, it's like writing the lyrics, figuring that out's pretty hard. The beats aren't so hard. With the singing, the beats are harder to make because most of my stuff is like heavily electronic or like just evil sounding, and it's hard to sing over evil sounding stuff, which I probably should try to sing over evil stuff, but I wanted a certain sound, and that's another layer of why it took so long, is because I would make a song and then be like, I don't like this because it doesn't sound the way I imagined it to. I think all the songs that I put on the CD pretty much have a similar vibe to it, and that's what I was going for. But yeah, those two CDs took me forever. It took a long time, a lot of work. And what's funny is while I was taking all the files and saving them, because that's what I do. Once I finish something, I'll save each thing with all its files so that if I want to, I can edit it later. And I was going through, and I was in Beef Chicken's folder, and there was two different beats. One was on Machine, and the other was a Fruity Loops beat. So I figured the Fruity Loops beat might have the lyrics and audio over it, so I could edit it if I want. But when I opened it, I was wrong. The Fruity Loops sound was supposed to be for projections, but it didn't work because I don't have any of those files. So I was like, okay, Fruity Loops file isn't for Beef Chicken. That kind of sucks. So I opened the Machine one, and this one isn't the Beef Chicken beat. It's a completely different beat that I hadn't heard since 2011. And when I heard it, it was weird. It's like a loop, so you have to let it loop a couple times. But then after like the fifth or sixth loop, you're like, this is a crazy sound, like the atmosphere. It's a short beat, right? That's why you gotta let it loop, because it's weird. But I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh, I should rap to this. But then if I rap to it, that's me starting a whole new album. And I think that's what I gotta do, or that's what's happening, is I'm using this beat that I found from 2011 to start the second rap or lyric album that I do, which is pretty funny, I think. It's weird that happened. That's like an example of why the album took so long to finish. I remember in 2016, I think, I was like, I'm gonna finish this rap album right now, this year. But then I found the beat for God and the beat for Creative Vomit. And those two, I was like, whoa, these are crazy. And those I also made in 2011. I couldn't figure out how I did any of it because I was new to Machine back then. So these songs were made back when I didn't know what I was doing with Machine. So it's kind of weird hearing them or seeing them in the files, because I'm like, what? I had no clue what I was doing. But yeah, I'm gonna start a couple new CDs. I think I had a couple ideas for some things. I didn't think I'd make so much music this year, but I did, which is pretty cool because I haven't been making music. So this is the end of 2020. It's the end of the year, and this year kind of sucked. I think a lot of people would agree that this year sucked. So what happened for me is in December last year, I went to Georgia because I was going to move. I was going to move from LA and move back to my hometown because I couldn't find work out here. I had been unemployed for a year and a half or so, and I was just losing money. I didn't really see a reason to stay in LA. It didn't make sense. And so I was like, all right, I'm going home. And my family had me go on vacation anyways, and I told them while I was down there, like, I want to move back. So I was looking for apartments while I was in Georgia. So I was like actually gonna move. There was a couple apartments I found that I wanted. So I was telling them, like, yeah, maybe in February when I come back. I almost put down payments down. If I would have done that, then I would have actually moved. But I came back to LA, and I didn't really want to move, you know? I was moving because I didn't want Play Access to flop over and me not be able to run it. And I didn't want to lose money being unemployed when I could use the money that I have saved in Georgia, and it's pretty much tripled or quadrupled because the expenses out here are ridiculous. So I come back to LA, and I start looking for work, and I find the job that I have now, which I've had since January. It's been a full year. So the lockdown, when it happened, I understand that for a majority of the people in the world, the lockdown sucks because you lost your job and you don't have a way to make money. For me, the lockdown was kind of like, hey, you're not going to be able to work until April, and it was March. And I was like, okay. And then it changed to like end of May. And so I was thinking, I'm going to be out of work for a really long time. So I didn't freak out because I didn't freak out because I have ways of, figuring out the whole situation without going broke or anything. But like literally the weekend after the lockdown happened, my boss hit me up and he was like, I need you to come print this stuff because he's not able to do it. He can't really do what I do. And so from that point, like 4 days after the lockdown, I had been working ever since. But in the initial first, like, I think it was 4 months, I would go there when I need to. So I had like, 2 or 3 days off and I'd go work a bunch. I'd go work 2 or 3 days to get jobs done. And then, so it was like a mini vacation for me. So I still was able to pay rent and work and have a job. So 2020 hasn't been as bad, but it sucked because, everything's shut down. People are on edge. You can't see your friends, you know what I mean? Because everyone's quarantining. People have different opinions on it. Different people feel different ways. Like I have certain friends who can't hang out because they're around other people who it's way too risky if they were to get sick, so they're like, nah, I can't really hang out. So that's kind of sucked. And before the lockdown, I was going to fingerboard events, doing videos, like going to events, going to flow jams and stuff, hanging out with people. And since the lockdown and since this virus bullshit, it's like none of that can be done. So it's been pretty dull, I guess. Been pretty boring. So yeah, this podcast is probably not going to be long. I don't really know what to talk about, and I've probably just been rambling. It's like, I didn't want to make this today because I've been all over the place. I had just driving like an hour or two in traffic just to go pick something up, and to doing all these bullshit chores, going to ATM, getting money. I had to send the laser information back to the factory, which is this is a fun little note. I saw Saturn. They took pictures of Saturn and sent it to me because before they're gonna mass produce them, they're like, "Does this look okay?" And I was like, "Whoa, these things are gonna be nuts." But the thing I'm worried about is people don't like skill toys as much as I do. Like, I see these toys and I'm all for it. That's why I have every single toy you can imagine. That's why I juggle them all. It's like I love skill toys. So it doesn't bum me out or anything. It just doesn't make sense to me when I put a product out and people don't vibe with it or it doesn't click with people. Like Halo, Balo, Hollow, Rebar, Saturn, all these toys that I've made are insane. They're really fun to play with, but I think people don't get it, or I don't know. I don't understand. But Saturn is freaking dope. It's a brand new skill toy. That's what I'm trying my hardest at, is making new skill toys. Saturn is not a new idea so much, but it's a new skill toy, kind of like Halo. I didn't quote unquote invent Halo because it's a ring and a chain, but I invented the way you use it, similar to Saturn. But I don't think you could go out and buy something that's like Saturn or make it very easily. And it's kind of sucky that it's going to be a bit pricey. Might be 35 to 45 bucks because it's expensive and it's a big hunk of metal. It's probably the biggest thing I've made other than fingerboard rails. That's one thing that I have in the order that's going to be coming my way is Play Excess fingerboard rails that I'm excited about, and a lot of other things that are in these orders. I have a Delrin order too, which has yo-yos, pen spinning type thing, and crescents. I guess I can say that. Yeah, I'm making some test run Delrin crescents, which are just going to be super light, and I'm wondering how they'll play. There'll be a new addition to the shop as Delrin things pretty soon. But all this stuff, I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm shooting for May 30th for Saturn because I usually put a new toy out on my birthday. And that seems like a decent time. I should have them before then, but I don't know. So don't hold me to this. Don't quote me on all this stuff because it's COVID and it also takes a long time to manufacture and ship to me. And then also it takes forever for me to package them, take pictures, do content, do videos and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm working on all of it. This year's resolution is to work more on Play Excess and work harder on my own stuff. I will still be making, toy videos and things like that, but I'm trying to work on my business and work on, my creations, my products and stuff like that, more so than playthroughs of video games or something, I'm just trying to be more active. So that's my New Year's resolution, is even though I am, but I'll try to be even more active and do more. So yeah, this is a rambling ass motherfucking podcast, don't believe me. At the end of this shit, if you stuck with me all the way in this fucking 12 episode, bruh, hey, you cool, bruh. You cool with me, bruh, you know me. I'm out, bruh. This is a short episode, but I don't care. COVID. Oh no.